Everybody is happy, obviously, that they're listening to this, but it's another week, another episode of Breaking Down Security.
Wow.
This is like a regular thing now.
What is that?
My woos? Oh.
Podcast.
I thought it was your Tourette's with you, just woo! We're just making a woo!
No, usually that involves cussing.
No, that's right. That's right. Mr. Betcher, Ms. Berlin are always here with me, as always. And Mr. Betcher, how are you?
Doing fine.
So you're going to be on vacation next week, and isn't that weird?
I'm going to be out. Finally.
Are you going anywhere fun? Did you already tell me this? I can't remember.
I don't know. My wife has it all planned out, so I'm just along for the ride.
Oh.
Are you going to be duct taped in the trunk? Is that what you're going to be along for the ride for?
Mm-hmm. Hood ornament.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Yeah, you're actually coming up to my hood up here in the Pacific Northwest, but
yeah,
I don't know if we're actually going to get to meet. His wife is trying to keep us apart, so
Aww.
It's a star-crossed lovers that we are. So,
like in space, if you're an inch away, you might as well be a mile because you'll never get there.
Exactly. So, yeah, if you do get down to my hood, we'll definitely introduce you to the office, and you can come on in and say hey. So,
cool. And the cats.
Say what?
And the cats.
Yeah. Well, they'll hide, but the one Mama Kitty will hang out and show. Yeah. So I think
they say if you have three, they fight a lot.
They do with their family, so they like to fight. The mom and the son, they fight, and the brother and the sister, they fight a lot because she didn't like him. So, but yeah. It's a long story, y'all. So, let's see. What has been going on? Let's see. We got some announcements, and some things that happened. I talked today. I gave a talk at Utica online course at Utica University.
How did it go?
It went really well. I only spoke for about 25 minutes, but it was on, they're learning how to do pen testing, and they're starting with, learning how to do the tools, of course. So they've got Kali Linux started up. They've got a Metasploitable VM, and, I kind of walked through, some of the tools they might use in MAP. Metasploit, obviously, because that's why the Metasploitable was created. John the Ripper, TCP dump, Wireshark, some of those things, why they would be used. Burp Suite, for interception proxy, a Zap proxy, of course. First time I'd ever used Adobe Connect, which was their web conference system. Of course, it used Flash, so I had to install Flash on my system. So I had to disinfect my my machine early. But I think it was enjoyable. I think they got something out of it, which was kind of cool, that they had me come and talk. I mean, So you said you did it online then? Yeah. I actually was at work doing it. So yeah.
Was there live feedback when you were doing it, or were you just talking to? Was it like you were just talking to yourself?
Oh no. We had like 15, 16 people in there, and they had a chat window, and they were asking me questions about a lot of quantum computing and stuff, which I don't have good handle or a good handle on quantum computing and why it would suck, because I don't do a lot of numbers. So
right.
I tried to answer it as best I could. There was some questions about threat assessments, when you should do threat modeling and an engagement. Because one part of the talk was about what you're missing when you do vulnerable VMs and CTFs if you're trying to be a pen tester. And one of those, I was like, you're not getting the scoping section of it. You're not getting necessarily the threat modeling and the threat assessment. You're just, out there banging on a system, trying to enumerate the vulnerabilities, enumerate the ports and stuff. So, there are walkthroughs, so people do take the time to do reporting, but for the vast majority of people who are doing CTFs, they don't necessarily worry about doing the walkthroughs. They're just trying to get the flags to move along and get the points. So, I was trying to, tell them about, trying to document what your findings were, maybe the impact of it if you're working, what would be the impact if this system was on somebody's network and you did find this, local privilege escalation, or the fact that there was cross-site scripting on the site. What would be the impact of that? Those are some things they would think about when they're doing those. So
I like it when they actually are able to respond, and it's not like you're just talking to yourself for an hour without any feedback.
Yeah, I actually had a mayor of a town from near where I grew up. He's the mayor of Dixon, Missouri. He was on there, so that was pretty awesome. He's taking a course online, like I did when I first started taking my degree. So that was pretty cool. So
nice.
Yeah.
Regarding the quantum computer thing, people say that Moore's law is dead because we're limited by the size of the atom, right? And we can't really get transistors any smaller,
right?
And that's a barrier. And Moore's law is not working out lately,
right?
Well, talk to me when quantum computers are a thing and see. Right.
Yeah.
I think it can only accelerate.
Yeah. I think they will one day. I mean, back in the 50s when, the supercomputers were the size of buildings and people theorized that every home would own a computer the size of a refrigerator. That was, some of the predictions and prognostications that were made back in the day. And now we have them, small enough to fit on our, on our glasses or, what have you. So, I know eventually, and I said this in the class, I was like, eventually we will have quantum computers, the size of our cell phones or whatever, if, or smaller even. But, I don't know what they're going to do in regards of encryption and stuff, or how they're going to, shape the way things are being attacked in the future. So, so that was pretty cool. It was the first time I'd ever talked to spoke to a college class. So that was pretty awesome. So I like to thank Michael Zambotti. I hope I got that right. God, I hope I got that right. For having me come in and say hey, So
very cool.
Yeah. All right. So the real crux of our show this week. I don't know what possessed Ms. Berlin to, mega tweet this out, but it was back. What day was this?
I don't know.
It was back almost a month ago.
Did someone piss you off or what?
25th of May.
No, I'm revamping a talk. One of the first talks that I gave, I'm revamping, and because somebody asked me to kind of talk about the book, and this is a blog post, like a ranty blog post that turned into a talk that kind of turned into the book. So. Right. I'm going back and rewriting that talk, and these were like the 50 premises I pulled out of the talk that I had given. And it was just it started from a rant.
Very cool. Well, some of the best tweets come from rants. Swift on security, Vis, they're all big, ranters, but it all comes from a position of love, I think. So, the rant, the mega tweet that she came up with were 50 free things you can do to improve the security of most of your environments. And I got several people annoyed because I said there were free things you could do.
Yeah, but like none of them, the majority of them are not easy.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they're definitely some of them are, but some of them would not actually some might actually cost you money depending on if you don't have that technology in place in the first place.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But a lot of people do have it in place and aren't using it.
Right. So we're not going to go through all 50 because we only have, so much time. Maybe we can go over the other half when Mr. Betcher isn't here because he's on vacation and stuff.
Bill and I on his podcast went over all 50 and it was an hour and a half long.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. So you're just going on other people's...
We don't need to do that.
You're just going on other people's shows and talking about stuff. Wow.
I was on Rally Security too over the weekend.
What was that? I saw that tweet and I'm like, we got 3 podcasts and I'm like, well, what is this? I didn't even know.
It was me. Steve Reagan was on it for Southern Pride Security.
Oh, okay.
Rally Security, and then Joe Gray was on it for
the Advanced Persistent Security. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Wow. Okay. Well, I'll have to go back and listen to that one. So
it was very long. I think they did it for like 6 hours or something.
Wow. All right. I was unaware of this. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's maybe hit a couple in each section because you have a number of sections here. So we'll start with network and segmentation. So, you've got geoblocking. Why geoblocking? We're a worldwide web, not a countrywide web.
Not everybody's worldwide.
But I need
people. I mean, if you have a company that sells widgets, but one country doesn't buy your widgets or never will, or let's say you're in healthcare, right? But you're not interested in the healthcare of, I don't know, Zimbabweans.
Okay.
Then if Zimbabweans aren't your customer, then why should they be visiting your website? Things like that, right?
And if you look at like perimeter firewall logs and the countries that all of your traffic is coming from, that's hitting those firewalls, it's usually not places that you do business with.
Right.
It's like China's 90% of the traffic.
Okay, so
now, would you do TLD blocking as well? Like, do you really need to your employees to click on links that end with .click?
Right. Yeah. .click or there's a lot of TLDs.
Right. Okay. So here's a question. Back, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, people threw a fit because, some employers were so callous as to block social media websites, Facebook, Twitter, those things.
Mm-hmm.
Is the prevailing opinion now that it would be safer for us to block those sites or to block, things that are non-work related because, people have phones. They can check Facebook on their phones or Twitter on their phones. I
don't know that it's much about productivity. It's just like, why would you allow the increased risk of, because people get malware from Facebook all the time.
Right.
Why would you want that on a device that the enterprise manages? Let them get it on their phone if it's possible or whatever.
Right.
It's not really about productivity at this point.
So the geoblocking would be both ingress and egress.
Mm-hmm.
And that the ingress would stop, people from banging on your external endpoints from Zimbabwe. I apologize to folks in Zimbabwe.
The majority of them are like Czech Republic and China and Russia and Korea. What are some other ones that have been really popular? Netherlands.
Hey, we get a lot of downloads from people in the Netherlands, so be nice.
No, it's not them. It's just the fact, like the majority of the stuff that comes from China is just botnets.
True.
Well, even hosting companies in the U.S. like GoDaddy,
right?
A lot of hackers just set up a GoDaddy site for phishing or a GoDaddy server, and they're sitting there CNC from that, right?
Yeah,
right.
So you could also block hosting companies as well if it wouldn't hurt your business,
right?
So can we just block all of DigitalOcean?
Wow. Yeah, probably could. Probably could. So you could actually have a US-based IP address to a .ru domain, which is why you need to block the TLDs, which is, you can't just block by IP address necessarily, because you could also have a .com from a .ru, and, maybe you need access, and then vice versa. So, okay. So that sounds great. That sounds great. Okay. Network device backups. I mean, is that just, backup configs for your routers and switches?
Yeah. In case of compromise.
Well, I mean, if the device configuration was what got you, owned in the first place, I mean, aren't you going to make changes once you realize that?
And like wipe your configs.
Ah, okay. Well, wouldn't denial of service not necessarily be their modus operandi? I mean, if they caused a denial of service, then they're locked out effectively too, right?
Right.
Okay. I mean, I guess it would depend on the attacker or the people who are doing it. If they're just trying
if somebody is attacking it with SNMP and just pushing configuration changes because you never changed your SNMP right.
Yeah, right. So if you work for Torchy's and then Taco Deli starts to attack you and brings down your website or your whole network, right?
What?
Back up.
No, see,
Are these like Taco Bell's?
No, these are better than Taco Bell's. I lived in Austin. I know Torchy's and I know Taco Deli. They're both very good taco shops. Why are you poking that particular tiger, Mr. Betcher?
Well, it's popular.
Well, yeah.
There, I've never even heard of them before.
Oh, you will.
Now I have.
When you go down to Austin, have Mr. Betcher take you to Torchy's. They're fantastic. The Republic.
Oh, they have 52 locations in 3 states. I think there's one in Denver now.
Oh, wow. Okay. Very cool. So, all right. So network device backups are good. I guess not only routers, but switches. Is there anything else other than routers and switches that need backups? I mean,
IDS.
Access points. Oh, IDS. Okay.
Yeah. Access point controllers. I don't know that that's not considered network equipment.
Well, if your wireless access points have VLANs, I mean, you would want to keep those. Those would be necessarily needed to be backed up. So
usually that's controlled though on the routers.
Right. Okay.
So role-based servers only. Let's talk about that. Does that mean that each server has one job?
Not necessarily. I mean,
okay.
Not
but there's an exclamation
one job. So because I have a really good horror story that goes along with sharing roles on servers. There's one of the first places I did security-ish stuff, and it was at the beginning of when we were finally realizing how much everything was messed up. We had no DMZ, and our public-facing website server was dual homed, so it had a public IP address directly on it, and it had an internal IP address directly on it, and the database backend to that application server was on a domain controller. So you had Microsoft SQL on a DC, and on that DC, that DC was also providing DHCP to our public guest network.
Right.
So you could do an entire loop if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
But the point is you shouldn't have a database running on your domain controller in general. I mean,
well, for PCI requirements, they're like, oh yeah, you have to have separate primary and secondary servers for those services. But some organizations can't have 2 DHCP servers and 2 DNS servers and 2 Active Directory servers. So the primary, say, DNS server is also the backup DHCP server, or the primary AD server is also the backup time server. So if there is a failure, the backup can run on that server for a certain amount of time, obviously. Now, that may not necessarily be the case, and if you're using the cloud, AWS or Azure or whatever it is, it's easy to spin up a new version if you need to. But if you're still using, typical traditional data centers, that's obviously an option. So,
Yeah, and those are like domain critical,
right,
or network critical services that don't really require a lot of processing power,
right,
and network throughput and that kind of stuff. So I just think it's the application server shouldn't also be a DC or anything like that.
exactly.
So if you have credit card data, it would not be a good idea to have your web server be also your database server.
That is correct.
Right.
No LAMP configuration should be used ever for production. Separate your LAMP out.
LAMP should die.
That's how I first learned how to set up a web server. Is
Me too.
LAMP and
WAMP.
it up.
You ever did WAMP too?
LAP was the other one. LAP using Postgres instead of MySQL. So yeah, right on. All right. So Windows, best practice GPO. NIST GPO templates. Why would you want to use NIST GPO templates?
There's like 5 million settings in group policy. NIST just like locks it all down for you and like, look, here's a secure GPO you can just copy.
Right.
So you don't have to go through everything manually.
Okay, so...
And you can put it locally too, right? So...
Or at least use that as a baseline.
Yeah. And so what I recommend is, so you have your local policy, right, that gets applied first. And then you have the domain policy that's on top of that. You can put the more restrictive policy locally. That way, if a computer ever gets removed from the domain, but it's still on the network, it still has a secure config on it. If it can't access the regular GPOs.
Okay. So obviously we want to caveat the GPO templates. Just downloading and using a GPO without testing it first is a recipe for completely bricking your domain.
And doing any of this without testing it first is probably...
Right. And that goes without saying. You should definitely test everything before you put it into production, especially just, downloading and installing GPOs. It tends to get breaky in a bad way, not in a good way, not a breaky kind of,
My favorite GPO that I created was one that was used on our imaging template for new devices. So anytime a computer would get imaged, it would have not very much capability, and you got less capability when you added it to the domain, because it would only allow you to change the name, change the domain, and reboot, I think, because I had the startup script that would pop up and remind our help desk to move it to the correct container and correct OU in Active Directory.
Right.
So it would get the right GPO. It would just say, listen, you can't leave this in the computer container. And it wasn't a computer container. It was like another one that we had forced computers to go into to get that GPO.
Right. Okay. What's MSBSA?
Microsoft Baseline Security Analyzer.
Is that still a thing?
I think so.
Okay. I remember using it in like Windows 7, but I didn't know if it was still available for 8 and 10.
I used it in 2012.
Okay.
Which is the last time I did domain admin stuff. So.
Right. Okay. I know that it worked fairly well, and it would tell me anytime I had vulnerabilities like, oh, you're missing these patches. So that worked.
Like your IIS shouldn't be configured like this.
Oh, right. Yeah. Not only does it do operating system, it does IIS or whatever. So
SQL.
I added this one. I don't know if this is the 51st one, but I put run as standard user, no local admin. And I tell you what. Yeah. I'm gonna seg into this, but I was gonna mention this at the end of the show. But SeaSec East this month, Dr. Crispin Cowan is going to be speaking about this exact thing. There's no reason to be running as a local admin anymore. You can run as a standard user, and he's going to show us how to do that.
Oh, that's awesome.
On Windows 10. So maybe I can get him to come on on a future show and go over his slides with us. So there's no reason to run as local admins anymore, and that I think is I'd say 60 to 70% of the problem. Once you get local admin on a box, you have access to the entire box, and using things like software restriction policies and standard users can reduce the attack surface quite a bit. So we're going to see about getting him on as well. So
very cool.
Endpoints, patch your Unix boxes. Well, yeah.
A lot of people don't. They don't have anybody capable or sure enough of themselves to manage Linux boxes.
Look, I'll help y'all out if you aren't confident on it.
Apt-get.
Damn it. Son of a... Look, it's not Berlining down security, all right?
Sorry, I ruined it. Yum install.
Yeah, yum install. Yum install apt, sudo apt install. Yeah, or apt update. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you don't just always run as root?
There are no words.
What's the sudo you speak of?
There are no words. There are no words.
Reasons why I'm not a Linux admin.
Local admin.
Block browsing from servers. That makes sense. I mean, even Windows had locked that down. It used to bug the hell out of me because I was like, I got a fresh 2008 install. I can't install the software I need because you have to like deliberately, unbreak, or
advanced firewall settings.
Right. Advanced firewall settings. That's right.
God, I hated that. Internet Explorer Advanced Security or something like that. I can't
Darn you, Microsoft, for blocking server access to the internet. Darn.
Yeah, but I mean, not even just, not every device needs access to the internet.
Exactly.
Let alone servers.
Exactly. No, I appreciate that. Yeah. Let's see. Use BitLocker or encryption. That makes sense. File Vault, if you're using OS X, enable that File Vault, baby. Or Lux. Lux on Linux is LUKS. The problem with some of that is, especially on the Linux side, on servers, if memory serves, if you enable Lux and you reboot the box, you have to have somebody like turn it on for you and log in because it won't boot up until it gives you a password. So there are some things that
you can have an ILO.
Yeah. That was, what was the ILO? Where was the ILO? Oh, there it is. Change your ILO passwords and settings. Yeah. So, I mean, ILO works if you've got, a hard iron, if you've got bare metal, but for a AWS system, you don't necessarily get the ILO connection, I don't think. So, or for Azure. So,
and speaking of ILO, I want to point something out. I had one of our pen testers found like an ILO vulnerability on one of the red team engagements, and the customer just went and unplugged it from the network. Which is fine. Like if you don't use they didn't use it anyway. So if you don't use an ILO, you can just unplug it. But if you don't use it, but you should fix the vulnerability first. Yeah. You should patch the firmware and then unplug it. So if somebody doesn't unplug it back in.
Right. That always happens.
Right.
Always.
Like, oh, I can fix this. Unplug. Fast forward 2 years later.
Yep. Right. All right, so we're getting down to it here. We'll just do the MFA and auth stuff. So it says different local admin password lapse. What does that mean?
Yeah, and I walked through that when I did my my kill chain training thing. So lapse is something you can get from Microsoft. So if you have a Microsoft domain and like a million computers out there, you don't want to have to manually change and keep track of all the local admin passwords, right?
Yep.
Lapse will do it for you.
It actually stands for Local Administrator Password Solution. Well, there you go.
It is. Sweet. And it will automatically generate randomized passwords for all local admins, and it stores it in Active Directory.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, not the best, but honestly, if somebody has your domain controller, you're screwed anyways.
Yeah, you're gonna.
And you can set it so different people can see those passwords. There's like a lapse GUI that you can run that will show you what the local admin password is if you're the right user, or on the right computer, or there are PowerShell commands that you can run.
Very cool.
To see a user username and password per device or whatever.
Okay.
My admin password is an IDS trigger.
Wait.
Of course it is.
What was that? It's an IDS trigger?
So that you know if it's going clear text across the network, you'll get a trigger.
Yeah.
Is that like I set my password to what was it?
And all I got was this T-shirt.
Right. Well, it was like I set it to incorrect because if I forget it, then it will always remind me.
Yeah.
Your password is incorrect. Yeah. So the only other one I would add for MFA and auth is two-factor anywhere. You know.
Yeah.
That's not on the list here, but no. But yeah, when in doubt, Okta or two-factor minus the SMS whenever possible. So
I might have just deleted it because the title. I was moving everything around into different sections, and I might have deleted it just because the title of that section is MFA.
Right. Okay. Oh yeah. Multi-factor auth or auth. Okay. All right.
But I've heard of so many pen testers that really, really gets in the way. Like
I hate
both the laps, because you can't pivot very well if you've gained a local admin password.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to work everywhere. Like the majority of everybody's does, because they're all imaged from the same thing. But also having multi-factor auth internally to specific things really, really puts a damper on that kind of stuff.
Yep, and Linux even has multi-factor auth for SSH, so there's no excuse to not have multi-factor auth for any authentication mechanism, even SSH. Because company I used to work at had two-factor auth on our SSH boxes, so you got an Okta push every time. So Okta does. It's one method, but you can also set up the PAM modules to use like Google Auth. So you just punch in the 6-digit code in your Google Auth token authenticator, and it'll work that way too. So, well, we got other things on here. We'll probably leave these in the show notes if you're interested in poking at the show notes. For the love of God, implement TLS 1.2. I would update that to 1.3 as soon as possible. But yeah. Right. So anyway, that was one. For the love of God, implement TLS 1.2.
I'll change it to 3. Done.
Well, 1.3 is probably not fully out everywhere, but I mean, yeah, eventually it will be. So, future proof that. So, let me see. Announcements. I'd like to give a shout out to Mr. Childress's high school 9th through 12th grade kids. They were looking for some donate money for some technology upgrades. So I'm not getting Starbucks for the week, but I've probably helped a bunch of kids get some technology, so I feel good.
Very cool.
I told them I'd give them a shout out on the show here. So if they're listening, welcome. So let's see, CTF Club. We're working on version 2 of the CTF Club because honestly, when I had imagined the CTF Club version 1, it could have gone better. It was one of those things that I wished it had become more than what it did, and we're trying to revamp it. So if you're interested in hanging out and doing maybe some hack the box with us, we're going to have some a cabal of people who are going to help you and we're going to work as a team on hack the box and solve some challenges. So
I think what else we should do.
What's that?
Is like have a BrakeSec team for the DerbyCon CTF.
Yeah, we need to definitely work on that. I'm going to have to set up a meeting with Mr. Domko and us, and we're going to have to work that out. So when Mr. Betcher gets back, we'll definitely start in earnest on that, because we're starting to get down to the wire on that, because we still have 2 tickets to give away.
They're CTF, not ours.
The actual one at DerbyCon.
Yeah.
Well, I can't do it. I'm not good.
That's why you do them.
Oh, well, okay.
I'm not good at them either.
If that's what you're trying to be good at, Brian, you need to enter CTFs.
Yeah, Brian.
Be your thing.
Wow. Man,
Right?
got all aggressive over here, man.
Now, I won't be on the team because
What? Oh no,
not my bag. But
oh hell no! You're
definitely encouraged.
Oh no, you're going to be on the team.
Oh
too.
no, you just you just volunteered yourself, son. It's happening. It's happening. Wow, I'm not gonna do it, but you can do it. Anyway, so yeah, we're okay. So yeah, we're gonna do the DerbyCon CTF for a ticket to go to DerbyCon, and maybe we'll solicit some ringers for the the DerbyCon CTF, and we can get one of them sweet trophies or whatever. So
Black badge.
Cool. The black badge, right? Yeah, we can definitely do that. So thanks to all of our Patreon supporters. We appreciate you donating and giving money because it helps us pay for hosting, Zooms. We have multiple Zooms. The training helps us, coordinate that and everything. So we're very grateful for our Patreon supporters for that. SeaSec East, I know it's a little late, but SeaSec East is on Monday, June 6th, here in the Seattle area, actually Redmond, if you're in the Redmond area, if you happen to work for any companies that happen to be in the Redmond area. We're going to be at the Black Lodge. Like I said, Dr. Crispin Cowan's going to be talking to us about how to properly secure your network. We're going to have pizza. Breaking Down Security is going to support, buy the pizza. So we've got about 25 people coming. It's going to be a full house. The classroom at Black Lodge is big. So if you are interested in coming, please, hit up the meetup.com and look for SeaSec East. So, okay. Summer reading program. Sorry. One last thing. David Sybuck, who runs, the, resume review, is also one of the moderators of our book club. So the next book that we're doing for the weekly book club is Chris Sanders' excellent practical packet analysis 3rd edition. No starch book. That's going to start very soon. If you're interested in doing that, you got to join our Slack and join the book club channel. But we also have a summer reading series. So we're going to be doing American Kingpin, the epic hunt for the criminal mastermind behind the Silk Road. Heidi, Geek Girl Detective. I don't know all of these books. Data and Goliath, The Hidden Battles to Collect Your Data and Control Your World by Bruce Schneier. Future Crimes, Inside the Digital Underground and Battle for Our Connected World.
Ooh, I like that one.
Really? I hadn't heard of it.
Yeah, I've read of it.
So they said they'll meet the last Tuesday of every month in June, July, August, and September. So I assume that it's going to be one book a month. So American Kingpin starts now, and they'll meet at the end of June and discuss. So if you're interested in doing these, please get on our Slack, which is very active. We have over 1,300 users and over probably 500 active people on there, and join the book club and start reading. So there you go. Ms. Berlin, I know you were at a lot of places. You're going to be at some places coming up in the next couple weeks. Maybe you could shine a light on that. Where are you going to be? Where are you going to be?
June is making me tired already.
Yeah,
it's just started. So I will be at Showmecon with David Sybuck. We're speaking together.
Right.
And I'll be there Wednesday to Saturday. I don't remember when I speak.
Right.
But they do still have tickets if anybody wants to go.
Cool.
Area 41 Con, which is in Zurich. So I'm really just excited to be in Switzerland.
Switzerland.
I don't
Wow.
really know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I am keynoting at bsidescleveland at the end of the month.
That's where the harder rock and roll is. So
it is.
Yeah, harder rock and roll.
It is a very good B-sides event.
Very cool. All right, Mr. Betcher, what are you doing? Anything interesting? I know B-Side San Antonio is coming up.
No, I will not be at B-Side San Antonio or Showmecon.
Oh,
gotta work, man.
Okay, well,
I also got to be on vacation. Take care of the fam.
True.
But
okay.
Michael Goff will be at both of those.
Okay.
San Antonio and Showmecon. He's going to give an awesome PowerShell talk.
Really?
So detecting PowerShell, the whole obfuscation stuff that's going around and all the PowerShell exploit. Turns out we've been doing a lot of research on PowerShell detection, and the logging is on the different PowerShell versions and all this stuff is very inconsistent.
Oh.
And it's very difficult to detect all these PowerShell attacks.
Okay.
But he's going to show you how you can do it, because we've done a ton of research on it. He's done 10 times more than I have. He's got a great talk there. So check him out, Showmecon and besides San Antonio.
And is that going to be a topic for a future Breaking Down Incident Response, which you guys just recorded one a couple days ago?
Probably so.
Okay.
We're lining up some episodes on, say, WMI, probably PowerShell as well.
Okay.
We may do some auto runs. We're trying to line up guests for those topics there. So stay tuned. They're going to be really awesome.
Cool. All right. And I can talk about my B-sides keynote-ish thing and later on, but that's going to happen in July. I think those tickets are sold out. So B-sides Springfield, Missouri is sold out. I don't know why they're coming. They're obviously not coming to see me if they are. So, that goes without saying. By the way, if you're going to B-sides San Antonio, Megan, oh God, finish
Roddy.
it for me. Who?
Roddy.
Thank you. Megan Roddy. She was on talking about neurodiversity. She's going to be speaking at B-sides San Antonio. So if you're interested in doing that. So, all right.
I've had several people tell me that's one of their favorite podcasts that we've done.
Yeah. It's amazing how our favorite podcasts are not necessarily technical, like our mental health podcast we had with Rando and then the neurodiversity one was very interesting too. I was very pleased and impressed by that. So, all right, enough non sequitur stuff. Ms. Berlin, if people wanted to talk to you about your upcoming, stuff, your talks and your appearances and your things, how would they go about doing so?
Of course, Slack or Twitter at InfoSystir, INFOSYSTIR.
Right on. Mr. Betcher, if they wanted to talk to you about versioning of PowerShells and defears and auto run keys and breaking down incident response, how would they do that?
Well, my DM is open on Twitter, so just hit me up there at BetcherPwned. Follow me, hit me up on DM, and I'd be glad to help.
Awesome. So we have a Slack. We've mentioned it a few times now. If you're interested in getting on that, you can email us at bds.podcast@gmail.com, or you can send us a DM on Twitter. Our DMs are open at BrakeSec, BRAKESEC. We're on Apple podcasts. So, if you like the show, you like what we've been talking about, leave us some feedback, give us a good rating. It helps other people find the show. We're on Google Play Store as well, TuneIn Radio. We're on Spotify, iHeartRadio app. So there's nowhere that you can't get a hold of us if you need to. So we'll also be unveiling our logos this week.
Yay!
Wait, what? Both of them?
Well, Mr. Goff is like, put this on the website. I'm like, all right, cool. Well, I guess if we're going to do that one, we might as well do the other one. So we're going to put the iconography out. We've been working on what seems like forever. New logos. It's not anybody's fault. It's just when you add a lot of people, complexity gets there. So I had specific ideas for podcast logos. Everyone else had specific podcast logo ideas. And then just hunting people up who could actually do a good podcast logo that didn't look like, like you pulled it out of an open clip art book or something.
So what we did was we now have just a giant blue circle with Breaking Down Security and Comic Sans.
That's what it is.
That's
right. Comic Sans. That's right.
Logo.
It's truly the alpha font if you're going to use any font.
Really
yeah,
is.
Alpha Comic Sans is fantastic. So, all right. Well, so you can definitely check that out, and we'll be putting them out there. We'll have them out on our at our table at DerbyCon that we're going to have as well. So you can come by and check them out if you haven't seen them. So I think that's everything. I didn't forget anything. So if you're definitely interested in the book club, go buy the book for No Starch Press, Chris Sanders' book. Also he gives all the money to Rural Technology Fund. So if you're interested in helping out a worthwhile organization, the Rural Technology Fund is important. So that was it for Breaking Down Security. We went long this week again. I'm trying to get it down to 30 minutes, but that's not going to happen. So, everyone have a great week. Please be nice to one another. Mr. Betcher, please drive safely on your vacation.
Will do.
Okay.
Try not to fall asleep at a red light.
That would be helpful.
Good idea.
Good idea. Yes. All right. And so that was it. Yep. Have a great week. We'll talk again soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And we're done. All right, cool.
Yay.
Whew. All right. That was a really great show. Good job, Miss Berlin. Good job, Miss Betcher. Good job, me.
I feel less hungover now.
Good.
Thank you.
Good job, me.
Good job.
To get a thumbs
Brian
up.
Brake.
I don't. Oh, wow.
Good job, Brian.
Good job, Brian Brake.
No, I'm actually feeling better.
Cool.
My headache's gone.
Yeah, you definitely.
Talking about security.
Well,
Yes.
It's because you're looking at my beautiful visage.
Well, maybe. Well,
you hesitated.
My crazy hair.
I was going to say something like I'd rather look at Amanda's beautiful vishes or vises, whatever you said.
Visage. Visage.
She's a lot
Visage.
prettier than you are. Sorry.
Aw.
Say that.
Brian has nicer hair.
I know, right? I got my hair did this week. Yeah, looking good.
Hey, I got a beehive this weekend. I'm a beekeeper now.
Oh, you?
I thought you meant hair.
Nice. I was like, you don't look like it. Maybe it's. Yeah. Okay. You got a beehive, really? So
That's cool.
So how do you? Are you harvesting? Are you going to be able to harvest, or?
I think so. Well,
It takes a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah. Right now, I'm more concerned about splitting the hive.
Right.
Apparently, if you take some eggs and put them over and have some drones or whatever in the new box, they'll say, "Hey, we don't have a queen," and then just make a queen.
Oh, right.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah. It's pretty freaking awesome. So yeah, I'm gonna learn about that.
Bees are very cool.
So we can expect some homemade mead then.
Oh.
I don't know, but I may bring some honeycombs. They say like if you have recipes that call for honey, you just put the whole comb in, like wax and all.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Really awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's not a lot of wax, and you can't taste the
Interesting.
wax anyway. So
Yeah, you can't taste it.
yeah.
It's interesting.
Very cool.
Yeah.